in my previous full day of eating, I got a comment about the number of vegetables I eat, and I wanted to address that in this video. Now, I think the comment meant well. It's actually something I probably would have suggested if I saw my food intake, a few years ago, not knowing any better, but now I do know better. And so that is why I wanted to talk about it in this video. Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jody and I help you change your beliefs so you can change your body, your health, and your life. As I said, we are talking about vegetables in this video. I wanted to address this comment because I think it's really important, not just in terms of you need to understand context around someone's life and also their body, medical issues, lifestyle, goals, before you go giving any kind of nutrition advice. But also, I think it's not well known that eating 7 serves of vegetables a day for someone with a gut issue actually isn't good advice. There are times, even if you don't have a gut issue, that eating 7 serves of fruit and veggies every single day probably isn't the best advice for you. An example I can think of is when I was eating in a surplus last year towards the end of my bulk, I was hitting almost 3,000 calories. Trying to include a bunch of fruit and veggies in my diet actually wasn't helpful because that would fill me up too much and then I wouldn't be able to hit those calories. Now I know you're probably thinking, but how are you healthy then? How are you getting all your nutrients in? That's something I'm going to address in a minute. But first I want to address why, if you have a gut issue, you're probably best to limit your vegetable intake, especially certain types of vegetables. Just remember though, this is a general video. If you do have a gut issue, I would encourage you to do more research on this. The reason I am sharing it is to just potentially change your perspective. One of the main reasons you probably eat vegetables is to get more fiber in your diet, because we have been told eat more fiber, it's good for you, it's good for your gut, blah, blah, blah. And it is good for your gut. Soluble fiber is, but vegetables also contain insoluble fiber. And this is the one that can be quite harsh on your gut, especially if you have a gut issue, which a lot of people do. If you have any kind of IBS-like symptoms, if you have IBS, which is just a collection of symptoms, then you probably have a gut issue. And obviously I'm not against vegetables at all. I do recognize they are nutrient dense. I recognize they are helpful if you are eating in a calorie deficit, your calories are low, they will help fill you up because of the fiber. They are a good choice because they add a lot of volume to your meals for very few calories, but you need to be careful with which ones you are choosing. So vegetables higher in soluble fiber include more starchy vegetables like carrots and turnips and beets, whereas vegetables higher in insoluble fiber are more of the green vegetables like green beans, green leafy vegetables, onions, broccoli, cauliflower, celery, all those kind of veggies that you'd usually add lots of if you are trying to keep your calories low. Now again, you don't need to avoid vegetables altogether if you do have a gut issue, but you just want to be careful with which ones you are choosing. And at the end of the day, base it on how you feel after eating the meals that you're eating. But just be aware, even though vegetables are nutrient dense and they are healthy, they might be contributing to any discomfort after eating, including cramps or bloating or gas. Now, I have actually tracked my fiber intake as well, and I pretty much hit it every single day with the amount of vegetables I currently eat. Now, certain fruits and vegetables are also high in what are known as FODMAPs. These are like short chain carbohydrates, right? If you want to do more research on it, I encourage you to look it up. But basically, if you have a gut issue, eating foods high in certain FODMAPs could cause your symptoms. This is part of the reason why I actually stopped eating a lot of fruit myself. I had leaky gut, right? And so when I ate certain fruits high in FODMAPs, I would get the worst stomach pains, have to go to the bathroom. It was horrible. So you might be wondering then, how do you get enough nutrients in your diet if you don't eat a lot of fruit and veggies, or at least the 7 serves, which is like the mainstream recommendation? Fruit and veggies are not the only source of nutrients. If you actually look into it, meat and dairy often have as high a nutrient content as a lot of fruit and vegetables, if not higher in some cases. Now, if you are including a lot of whole foods in your diet, it's likely, or you would expect, that you could be getting enough of all the nutrients that you need for health. However, our soils have changed over the years. The soil that a lot of fruit and veggies are grown in are actually depleted of nutrients. And so obviously the fruit and veggies that you're getting from the markets or the grocery store are not as high in nutrients as they once were. Even if you eat a lot of fruit and veggies, it's very likely that you are still deficient in certain nutrients, which is why I recommend you get your blood tested for deficiencies, because that's the only way you'll really know, right? And you want to remember, you should be comparing the number that comes out to optimal ranges for health, not just the reference ranges, because they are averages based on an unhealthy population. I have had my blood tested for health numerous times now, and that is how I decide what supplements I take in addition to eating a lot of whole foods in my diet already. You might be thinking, oh, but you don't eat meat based on your last full day of eating. I do eat meat. I made that video with no meat for the purpose of showing you that it is possible to still hit your protein target without it. I don't eat a lot of meat, but I do usually have a serve of meat or fish every day, and I do eat a lot of dairy, and I eat vegetables as well. And all of that for me is enough to get my nutrients in and get enough fiber and be healthy overall. So just because someone eats a lot of fruit and veggies doesn't necessarily mean they are healthy, and just because someone doesn't eat a lot of fruit and veggies doesn't necessarily mean they are not healthy. If you look at how a lot of cultures ate in the past as well, they couldn't get produce all the time. They would eat what's in season, so they wouldn't eat a lot of variety on a day-to-day basis, but they would get their variety throughout the year. The last thing I want to say is I have fixed my gut issue at the moment, but I kind of am still in that habit of eating what makes me feel good. And so yeah, that is how I choose what to eat every day. And I do mix it up as well based on what is in season, especially when it comes to vegetables. I don't eat a lot of fruit. I do eat berries when they are in season, but they are not at the moment. And since doing a lot more research on all of this, I've kind of relaxed when it comes to adding vegetables to every meal, and I've got stricter on cutting out certain foods from my diet, which I believe is best for me. That is all for this video. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please send me an email. If you liked it, please like it. If you'd like to see more, please subscribe. And if that is the case, I will see you in the next one.